Good afternoon and welcome to the July Cattle Briefing. My name is Lance Honig and I'm the chair of the Agricultural Statistics Board at NASS. This briefing is for the Secretary of Agriculture and other policymakers at USDA to better understand the content and context of today's report. We're very pleased to have Dr. Justin Benavidez, USDA's Chief Economist, joining us as Secretary Designate today. Before I turn things over to our presenter, I do have a few notes for our live streaming audience. The cattle report is a key statistical report. The Office of Management and Budget provides specific guidance on how this important report is to be released. OMB statistical policy instructs policymaking officials to refrain from making public comment within 30 minutes of the release of this report. Therefore, we will not be taking questions from the public during this briefing. NASS staff, of course, are available for phone or email questions. And we always strive to have everything presented at this briefing match the official record. However, should there be any discrepancy, always refer to the official published estimates. With that, I'm going to turn things over to Travis Averill. He is the chief of the livestock branch here at NASS. Travis.
Thank you, Lance. Appreciate everyone joining us here today for today's briefing. So let's get into the process. Here we have a sample size of the 50 states surveyed for the July 2026 cattle survey. Approximately 17,400 operations were surveyed this month. Data collection started on June 29th and finished on the 16th of July. Normal collection methods were used to gather data through mail, telephone, internet, and face-to-face interviews. The primary data items collected were total inventory by class, all cattle on feed, and the 2026 calf crop. Let's look at the usable response rates by day for the 2026 survey, along with the prior two July surveys and comparisons. Before covering the results of the survey data, I would like to cover the U.S. drought condition over the last 12 months for 3 points in time. In the top left-hand corner, as of July 1st, 2025, where moderate drought was impacting 18% and the severe drought was at 6%, mostly impacting the areas of the western and southwestern United States. Then you go to the top right-hand corner, the conditions as of December 30th, 2025, as a drought impact of moderate had increased to 32% and severe drought increased 1%, so it was at 7%. The drought had become more widespread across several regions in the United States. And then for June 30th at the bottom, 2026, the drought conditions had increased to where moderate was at 45% and the severe drought was at 29%. Once again, several regions were impacted, particularly in the western portion of the country, along with the South and Atlantic seaboard states. As you can see, they're illustrated in yellow and red. For July 1, 2026, U.S. all cattle and calves are at 94.2 million head, up 0.2% from 2025. Below is the chart of the U.S. all cattle and calves for July 1. From 2006 to 2026, the latest cattle cycle started in 2014 at 95.7 million head and peaked in 2018 at 102.7 million head. As you'll note through today's presentation, you'll see breaks in the chart due to NASS not conducting the July cattle survey in 2013, 2016, and 2024 due to reduced funding. U.S. all cows and heifers that calved are at 38.1 million head, unchanged from 2025. Beef cows are at 28,450,000 head, down 200,000 from 2025, whereas milk cows are up 2.1% from 2025 at 9,650,000 head. The chart in the bottom left-hand corner for July 1, U.S. beef cows from 2006 to current is similar to the all cattle cycle that I provided on the previous slide. To the right is the chart of the July 1st of the United States milk cows since 2006. Over the last 21 years, milk cow inventory has ranged from 9.13 million to as high as 9.65 this year. Just a note to have point of reference, this is the largest July 1 milk cow inventory since 1993. On July 1st, the United States all heifers 500 pounds and over are at 14.7 million head, up 100,000 head from 2025. Beef replacement heifers and milk replacement heifers are up 100,000 head at 3.8 million, 3.6 million from 2025. Other heifers are down 1.4% from 2025 at 7.3 million head. At the bottom is U.S. all heifers chart for July 1 from 2006 to present. This mirrors similar to the all cattle chart that I shared earlier, along with all cows. Next, we have the July 1, 2026 steers 500 pounds and over at 13.9 million head, up 0.7% from 2025. Whereas both the bulls 500 pounds and over and the calves weighing less than 500 pounds are unchanged from last year at 1.9 million and 25.6 million head, respectively. At the bottom is the chart illustrating the steers, bulls, and calves for July 1 over the last 21 years. Steers are in blue, bulls are orange, and the calves are gray. A takeaway from this chart is the variability in the calves over the years. Next, we have the U.S. calf crop for the first half of 2026 at 23.9 million head, down 1.6% from previous year. As a percentage of the total calf crop, the first half accounts for 73.5%. That is down 0.1% from 2025. 8.6 million calves are expected to be born in the second half of 2026. That is down 1.1% from last year. As a percentage of the total calf crop, the second half accounts for 26.5%. The preliminary annual calf crop for 2026 is at 32.5 million head, down 1.5% from last year. The chart provides the annual calf crop since 2006. Just a reminder, the 2026 value is a preliminary estimate, and we will further review the calf crop in January 2027. Next, we have the U.S. cattle on feed on July 1, 2026, with comparisons to last year. Feedlots with a capacity of 1,000 head or more are 11,370,000 head, up 1.5% from 2025. As a percentage of the total cattle on feed, this group accounted for 85.1% of all cattle on feed. That is down 0.5% from last year's inventory. Feedlots with a capacity of less than 1,000 head are at 1,830,000 head. That is down 46,000 from 2025. This group accounted for 13.9% of all cattle on feed. The chart at the bottom for July 1, all cattle on feed from 2006 to 2026. You can see the lowest inventory was in 2009 at 11.6 million head, and the highest was at 13.6 in 2019 and 2020. The last piece of the data, the U.S. feeder cattle supply for July 1, 2026 with comparisons to previous year. As feeder cattle supplies are estimated from the sum of inventories of other heifers and steers over 500 pounds, plus the calves under 500 pounds, minus your cattle on feed, all cattle on feed. So the total of the three inventory components provided a feeder supply, which is at 46.8 million head, unchanged from last year, minus all cattle on feed. The calculated feeder cattle supply is at 33,600,000 head. This is down 0.6% from the 33.8 in 2025. Some notes to take away on that the highest in the chart below for July 1, the highest was at 38.8 million in 2006, and this year is at the lowest at 33.6 million. Highlight of selected upcoming NASS reports. In addition to today's July cattle report, we also released the monthly cattle on feed and the cold storage reports. Next week on July 31st, agriculture prices, cash rents, and land values. On August 3rd, care reports for cotton systems, fats and oils, flour millings, and grain crushings, along with the annual honeybee colonies report. Dairy products on August 6th, August 12th, crop production, and then on August 21st, cattle on feed. All reports are available at the NASS official website. I appreciate everyone attending today's live stream session for the July cattle ASB briefing. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your day. This concludes